Are you ready for just an incredibly fun day of crocheting? Welcome to the 2024 Marley Birds Game Day.
We got show me love, show me love. This is all we got.
Hey everybody, I'm Robin Chitula here at marleybird.com, and we have such a great day planned. Game Day 2024 is epic, and it's gonna be a blast. So here you are with your first clue. You made it, you've got it. Hopefully you have your 4 balls of yarn all wound up, all ready to go, all saying, put me in, coach. Let's do this. All you need is your yarn, your hook. Remember, I'm using Heatherly Worsted by We Crochet, and I'm using an eye hook. So start there, because with our very first clue, we get to jump right in. So all you need is your yarn and your hook, and you're going to join me at the table. I'll see you shortly. It is time to jump right into 8 a.m. Before we look at the stitch diagram and everything, I want to talk 1 second about the color. These are the colors that I'll be using. You'll notice that they flow. I have kind of a flow here. It doesn't matter in any way, shape, or form. Everything in mine is very tonal. It doesn't matter which order you want to do. They all look nice. It looks, you kind of think about it, is your colors look nice in any order that you switch. So I don't want you to get too worried about what I'm calling my color A or color B. For you, just grab blindly and grab one and get started. What I felt like doing for mine is I'm going to call this color A, then move into a slightly darker color for B. C is going to be a slightly different off color, and then my A is going to be my lightest. But I'm telling you now, it does not matter. This order doesn't matter. They all will be fine together. So just grab whatever color is going to be your color A. For me, it's going to be this peach. This is what I'm going to start with. You can just move the rest to the side for now. You won't need it for the 8 a.m. All right? You'll also notice that I have some stitch markers. These come in handy. You will want these around. And of course, the stitch diagram. All of the words are written out for you on the website, so don't feel like, if you don't understand how to read a stitch diagram, you're sunk. You're not. You have all the words you need on the website. I just find it's a really easy tool while we're talking to kind of go back and forth about what to do. If you haven't used a stitch diagram before, the way you use them is you start in the center or at the bottom, just like you would if you're crocheting. For us, what we're doing is, you can kind of think of it as like half of a motif. It'll end up looking like a triangle is what we're doing. But these are rows. So it's like you get to the end of the row, you turn, and then you'll turn. And the way we're increasing makes it into rows instead of rounds, instead of constantly going in the round. So we're going to just look at one little bit at a time. Sometimes I'll even use post-it notes to kind of keep myself on track. So if you look just at the center, you can see that we have these ovals and these long lines with a hash mark. What's happening here is you go over to your symbol key. We're going to be doing chains and double crochets. Well, you guys got that. You'll notice that there's a little circle in their center. All that that's saying is that we're starting with an adjustable ring or a magic loop. However you like to call it, what you're going to do is you need to start with something that has a ring that you can use that then you can tighten. I don't care how you do it in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to show you how I do it. Feel free to do it however you like. So what I do is I wrap the yarn around my finger. So I have like crossed it over. Then I'll insert my hook to pull this yarn from behind to kind of pull up a loop to use. I'll chain 1 to lock it into place. But what I'll do is I'll put all my stitches in this ring and then I'll pull it closed with this tail. So following the directions, it's chain 3, 2, 3. Then it is a double crochet, and you repeat double crochet, chain 1, 3 times. So that's a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Just to remind you, if you haven't done this in a while, that's where you yarn over, insert your hook into the ring, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's your double crochet. So you double crochet, chain 1, 3 times. Basically, you're making 3 chain 1 spaces. So I've done 1, 2, 3. Then at the end, I'm going to have 2 double crochets. 1 and a 2. So that's my first little shell. We're going to be doing a lot of these. Shell is just it's not a fancy word at all. It just means you're doing the same kind of rhythmic stitches all in one spot. So this is our beginning. We want to tighten this up right away, so it truly looks like a little like seashell. What I'm going to be doing throughout, which I might not always say on every round, but what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be marking the center of my work every single row. It'll come in handy as we get further along on our project, but just to kind of get me in the rhythm, I'm always going to mark the center of my project. If you want, if it's hard to see, you can always mark the very top, like whenever we're doing these turning chains. If you want to mark where that is, feel free to mark that now. You'll notice on the video I don't mark it, but please, if this helps you, please mark the top of your turning chain if it helps, or the very first stitch if it helps. Go ahead. You'll notice I don't do it, but please do it if it does help. All right. That's row 1 done. We only have 5 more to go. There's only 6 rows in this one. So we go to row 2. On my stitch diagrams, every other row is a different color. So these are blue. In row 2, you'll notice a funny looking symbol. If you haven't done it before, it's called a stacked double crochet. This is about as exciting as we're going to get all today. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to show you how to do it, but if you hate stacked double crochets, if you end up going, blah, just replace it with 3 chains. So wherever you see it, instead do 3 chains, okay? So if you end up not liking starting your even rows with this, you'll notice that every even row will start with the stacked. Just add in 3 chains instead. Totally up to you. If we look at the other stitches, we have chains we've already done. We've done those chains. We've done the double crochet, we know that. But then the new ones that we have, which aren't new, we have these little crossbars, which if we go over here, single crochets. So far so good, only one oddball. So let me show you our little oddball. Around here at marleybird.com, we love stacked double crochets. So hopefully you'll fall in love with them too. What you do is normally when you want to start like a double crochet, you would chain 3 to get tall. You don't have to do that. All you do is you're going to turn your work, no chains at all. You're going to insert your hook into the very first stitch, pull up a loop. So you have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through those 2. It's kind of like doing a single crochet. Then you'll notice that you have 2 vertical legs. I have 1, 2 vertical legs. I'm going to insert my hook between those 2 vertical legs. So I'm going to insert my hook between those 2 vertical legs. From behind, yarn over, pull up a loop. So I have 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over, pull through those 2. That made a stacked double crochet. So let's do it one more time. Again, you're starting with no chains. Insert your hook into the first stitch, pull up a loop. I have 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over, pull through those 2. I have 2 vertical bars. I'm going to insert my hook between those two vertical bars. So I'm inserting my hook between those two vertical bars. From behind, I'm yarning over, pulling up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So that made my stacked double crochet. It's like 2 single crochets stacked on top of each other. Then I'm going to chain 2, and in my very first chain 1 space, I'm going to do a single crochet. That's just where you insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1, and a single crochet into the same chain 1 space. So that's all happening in the same space. Now I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to put a double crochet in my center, the one that's marked. Then I'm going to chain 2. In my next chain 1 space, I'm going to put a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. Then I chain 2, and I'm going to double crochet into the top of my turning chain. So if it's hard to see where the top is, obviously the bottom is closer to the center. Anywhere in the top, I don't care what strand you're pulling through. If it's hard to see, mark it off from now on, because we'll be always ending our even rows in this first clue. And that is our row 2 all done. All right, I'm going to go ahead before I forget and mark my double crochet. Like I said, I'm always marking the center. If you wanted to, you can mark the beginning if you want to. All right, let's keep on trucking. We head to our row 3. What's happening in the center of both of these, in row 3 and row 5, we have these big shells. So those are going to be the same in each row. And at the end of the row, it's like we have half of one of these. We have half of one of these at the end of the row. For the beginning, you chain 3 to get tall, and then we're going to do half of a shell. Chain 1, single crochet. So we're using all of the same stitches that we know. So let's go ahead and do row 3. I'm going to go ahead and start with a chain 3. Then in this first stitch, I'm going to double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. That's half of a shell. Then I'm going to chain 1, and in this chain 1 space, there was, remember, a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. In that chain 1 space, I'm going to put a single crochet. Chain 1. Then in the top here, I'm going to remove my stitch marker so I can use it. In the top, in the center, in this double crochet, I'm going to put a center shell. And that is doing a double crochet, chain 1, 5 times. So double crochet, chain 1, once, double crochet, chain 1, that's twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and with a double crochet. So that's 6 double crochets and 5 chain 1 spaces, all in that one double crochet, right? This is a big one, so we're going to call these center shells, and I'm going to mark off the middle of it. Then chain 1, single crochet into the single crochet between the 2 shells, chain 1, and then in the top, so this would be the bottom of that stack stitch in the top. If you chain 3 instead, you want to put it in the top of the chain 3. You're going to put half of a shell, so it's a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, finish it off with 2 double crochets. That will make half of a center shell. And that is what your row 3 looks like. So I'm going to let you guys go, and I want you to do row 4, 5, and 6. There's nothing new here. Just follow the diagram. Keep working. Once you finish row 6, don't run away too fast. Come back to me. I want to talk about gauge for a minute. All right, go, go, go. Welcome back. So hopefully those 6 rows weren't too bad. And what you'll notice is that we're making classic crochet lace in a triangle shape. The last thing you need to do before you finish this part is check your gauge. But here's the thing. Our gauge is a blocked gauge. So that's why I have my blocking board out. And we're going to pin it out like I was going to go actually block it, steam it or spray it or whatever I need to block it. Because when you're crocheting, it all bunches up. And that's not what we need. We need it to be, that's not going to help us with our gauge. We want to block it out. So I'm going to go ahead and block it and see how I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and pin this out like I would if I was doing crocheted lace, that I really wanted to open up. I want to be able to see the work that I've done. You'll notice I have not fastened off. That's important for this clue. Don't fasten off yet. And I'm going to go ahead and pin it up and see what I want to see. What I want is a nice amount of holes. You want to be able to see those shells. You can see, this camera focuses in on it. You can see those shells. That is the kind of openness that we're looking for. So what is that when I measure it? So if I go ahead and measure it, it's around 9 inches. You notice that the gauge that I give you in the pattern is like 9 1/4. So must have been when I was crocheting this, I was a bit tight versus my own crocheting it for the first time, which is a little bit looser than that. What I'm going to tell you right now is anything 1/2 inch plus or 1/2 inch minus in that range, when it's 9 1/4, you're totally going to be fine. Don't go up a hook size or down a hook size or move around. Just keep going with what you have. So 9 1/4 is the magic number. My, video swatch is at 9. That's fine. It's within the 1/2 inch kind of range. And then the same thing, check out your height compared to what the pattern tells you. If you're in that 1/2 inch range, you're fine. But don't actually go ahead and spray it. Just kind of check. Have a general idea of where you are. And if that's good. If you're in 1/2 inch, so if it's 9 1/4, if you're between 8 3/4 and 9 3/4, you're in the range. When it comes to this, if your triangle is bigger, you're going to use more yarn. If your triangle is smaller, you're going to use less yarn than I did. That's the main part here that you need to worry about when it comes to gauge anywhere else. It won't matter. It does not matter if it's slightly bigger or slightly smaller than mine. And that's it. That is everything you need for your first clue. So check this out, and then I will see you guys all later. Bye, everybody.
All we got. Show me love. Show me love.